Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, everyone. How many present? Okay, Ashmita, Rajlakshmi, okay, Jyotirmoy. Very good. Okay, students, so you know that previous class ma'am told you about the first chapter of your first book, part 1 in your history. It is beads, bones, bricks, beads and bones, I think. Okay, good afternoon everyone, Jivanangshu, Sanjana. So, you tell me that up to which you subunit ma'am discussed? So, ma'am is not present today, so that is why I am revising the chapter. I am not discussing a new subunit, I am just revising the previous subunits, and if you have any doubt regarding any subunit, you can ask me. So, tell me students that up to which subunit ma'am discussed? Oh, third book, chapter 1. Ma'am, we had not started chapter, book 1, chapter 1. Okay, book 1, chapter 1 completed, Harappan civilization. Okay, so I will discuss today about that chapter, the first chapter, and second chapter completed from this book, first book, second chapter from this first book, part 1, the kings, farmers and towns. Okay, ma'am already completed book 1 and 2, okay, only one book left, very good. So, then I will discuss from the beginning that chapter, chapter number 1 on your book 1, that is the bricks, beads and bones. Okay. And today I am going to discuss the main points of this chapter, and just going through this chapter one by one, and quickly we revise the main points. So, let us begin this. Okay, you know that the Harappan civilization was discussed in this subunit, that this civilization was mostly 5,000 years old as per the archaeologist. And what is the beginning of this civilization? When did it was discovered by the archaeologist? Actually, if I draw the map, you see that it is spread over a huge territory. Okay. So, it is Indian subcontinent, and in the bank of river Indus and its tributaries it was situated. And Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, two places, the first two places that were discovered by the archaeologist, and other sites also discovered. And the northernmost side, it is Manda in Kashmir valley, the Manda. The westernmost site, it is the Alamgirpur. The southernmost site, it is the Daimabad in Maharashtra. And the westernmost, it is the Sutkajendor. Okay. So, and this is Harappa, and Mohenjo-daro. And other sites also in India such as Lothal, Rakhigari here near Delhi, Haryana. Okay. And other sites also present like Kalibangan, and in Pakistan there are Chanhu-Daro and other sites also present in Indian subcontinent. Okay. So, when in 1850s first railway lines developed in Indian subcontinent from Multan to Lahore, it is at that time it was in undivided India. So, the railway workers, they collected the bricks from a mound or ruined place, and these bricks are sun dried or baked bricks, and they collected those baked bricks to lay down the railway tracks. When the chairman or the head of our Archaeological Survey of India at that time, Sir Alexander Cunningham, he was toured that place, and some artifacts also found near those mounds, and when he was informed that this place is full with sun dried bricks and some artifacts also discovered, then he was sure that this place is not a simple area. Something was there, that is a very old, a part of a very old civilization. Before that, the Indian history was written from the time of Ashoka, before, and the Mahajanapadas. They thought the Aryans came in India and they established this civilization in Indian subcontinent in the bank of Ganga Valley, but they totally unaware about this type of civilization that was actually in the Indus, in the bank of river Indus. So, in 1875 lot of things was discovered, and he assessed that the amount of bricks was present in the mound, and it could be used to lay down 100-kilometer railway tracks, and they actually breaking those bricks and used as a ballasts on the railway tracks. So, what happened now? After that, after a long time, during the time of another chief of Archaeological Survey of India, that is Sir John Marshall, and in the time of John Marshall, in the supervision of John Marshall, he instructed his two archaeologists. First one Dayaram Sahani. So, Dayaram Sahani invented Harappa in 1921 AD. It is present and at that time in undivided India. It is in Punjab province, and it is in the Punjab province, and another one in the very next year it is discovered by Dayaram Sahani in 1922 AD. The very next year, Rakhal Das Banerjee, a Bengali archaeologist, he also discovered another city, that is Mohenjo-daro, on the bank of Indus. Okay. And this city was very much preserved because railway lines and the human civilization was not situated beside this city, but most of the civilization and the railway lines and all the development works going on beside this city at that time. So, that is why Harappa was very much very much disturbed, and all the artifacts were very limited in the Harappa. And this is the northernmost side. So, if you join these lines, you can imagine that how big these areas are actually. Okay. So, this is the portion when this civilization established, and some civilization also established in the today's Afghanistan region. It is also present in your map, one or two sites such as Dumb Sadat It is present on your book, page number 3, map number 2. Okay. Now, we will going to discuss the subsistence strategies and how did the archaeological technologies developed in this area. That mature Harappan cultures, if we gather the numbers, they are more than 300, more than 340 sites were discovered between this area, and some are early Harappan sites, some are mature Harappan sites, and some are also new sites. Archaeologists, when excavated, they found 7 different layers on these areas, and these layers actually in this way situated in different parts of the valley. This is the lowermost level, and in this way there are different levels discovered, and they record them as the early Harappan site, the mature Harappan site, and also new sites. And what happened? Day by day they observed that the civilization was declined. The technology, the artifacts, and the well prepared technique was missing in the later stages on these sites. That mature Harappan culture developed in some of the areas occupied by the Arya Harappan cultures, and these cultures also shared certain common elements including subsistence strategies, and the Harappans ate a wide range of plant and animal products including fish and wide range of plant, animal products including fish, and archaeologists have been able to recognize dietary product practices and from finds of charred grains and seeds, and these are studied by archaeobotanists and specialists of ancient plant remains. And grains found at Harappan sites including wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea and sesame. Millets also found from the sites in Gujarat, and rice are relatively rare. And one thing is very important in these sites, that rice, the existence of rice, it is very rare. Most of the sites they have found the barley, the wheat, the lentil, chickpeas as well as millets, but the rice was very much rare in these sites. Animal bones found in different parts of these sites in different layers, and including cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, pig. And studies done by the archaeogeologist or zooarchaeologist indicated that these animals were domesticated also. And bones of wild species such as the boar, deer, gharial, gharial is a crocodile, one type of crocodile, a species of crocodile, are also found, and we do not know whether the Harappans hunted these animals themselves or obtained meat from other hunting communities. Bones of fish and fowl are also found. Okay, so the presence of these animals was found, that and the animal bones also found in different parts. Maybe these animals, mostly the crocodiles and gharial and other animals, may be stuck in the alluvial and they became fossil, turned into fossil. It also guessed by the archaeologist. And sometimes they might not hunted those animals, they actually purchased these things from the hunter gatherer communities. So these are their food habits. Now we are going to discuss about the agricultural technologies. How did the agricultural technologies developed in this period? That while the prevalence of agriculture is indicated to find of grain, and it is more difficult to reconstruct the actual agricultural produces. I have already mentioned that what are the agricultural produce have had found by the archaeologists from these sites. So, representation of seals and terracotta sculpture indicate that the bull was known at that time, and archaeologists extrapolate from that the oxen were used to ploughing. Moreover, terracotta models of the plough have been found at sites in Cholistan and Banwali in Haryana. In these sites, the bone of the bulls also found, and the ploughed land also discovered in some part of Gujarat, and so these animals used as a to ploughing the field, it was proved. And ploughed field also discovered in Kalibangan in Rajasthan. Okay. In Kalibangan in Rajasthan, the ploughed field also discovered. This is the very important point, that in which area ploughed field was discovered in Harappan civilization. It is Kalibangan in Rajasthan. Okay. So, the field had two sets of furrows at right angles to each other, and suggested that two different crops were grown together. So, the fields also in this way, the furrows, okay, this type of signs were found on the field. So, this is the indication that two type of crops were cultivated in two seasons, okay, and these lands are two crop lands because situated beside the river valleys, and archaeologists said that a river that was called Saraswati was flown in the region of Rajasthan today's Rajasthan. It was dried out totally, and these cities like such as Kalibangan was situated beside that city. They still studied about the river and the civilization established on the bank of Saraswati, and they thought that the Harappan civilization also are part of the civilization. Now, archaeologists have also tried to identify the tools used for harvesting. Did the Harappans use stone blades set in wooden handles, or did they use metal tools? Most Harappan sites are located in semi-arid lands where irrigation was probably required for agriculture, because these lands where most of these areas the water was not so available, okay, surprisingly, except few sites. So, irrigation was required. So, traces of canals have been found at the Harappan site at Shotrughai in Afghanistan. I already told you, in Shotrughai, in some region in Afghanistan, the traces of canal system also discovered. So, canals also used to irrigate those agricultural lands in the Harappan civilization, but not in Punjab or Sindh. But canals were not found in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, in Sutkajendaro or any other sites. Why? Because these are situated directly beside the river. So, alluvial deposits make the land very much fertile. So, no need of irrigation at the time. So, canals silted up long ago at the time. So, it is possible that ancient canals silted up long ago. So, it is also likely that water drawn from the wells was used for irrigation. And besides, water reservoirs found in Dholavira, Gujarat may have been used to store water for agriculture. So, Dholavira, another place, is situated in the Khadir Bight in Rann of Kutch, okay, Dholavira. Okay, so in Dholavira, a big water reservoir also discovered. So, this water reservoir they used for the irrigation, and also welled irrigation also found in some parts, welled irrigation. Okay. So, these are the agriculture of those people. Now we are going to discuss how artifacts are identified. So, different artifacts also found in different parts of this subcontinent, such as saddle cones. Saddle cones, you know already that what is saddle cones. It is used today also in our kitchen to grind the spices, okay, spices and herbs also. Saddle corn also discovered. One picture of a saddle corn also given on your book. This type of saddle corn, okay. So, preserving of food required grinding equipment as well as vessels of mixing, blending and cooking. So, these were made of stone, metal and terracotta, and saddle cones are found in considered numbers, and they seem to have been the only means to use the grinding cereals, okay. And as a rule, so they were roughly made, show signs of roughly made of hard gritty igneous rock or sandstone, and mostly show signs of hard usage, okay. So, you know that if we use the saddle corn, the surface is also eroded. So, that is why this type of saddle corn also discovered that it is very much polished, and the evidence and the signs of hard usage also find in this saddle corn. Except these two main types have been found, that these of which another smaller tool was pushed or rolled to and fro, and the others which a second stone was used as a pounder, eventually making a large cavity in the nether stone. Okay. Coins of the former type possibly only former type were probably used solely for grain, and the second type possibly used for pounding herbs and spices for making curries. Okay. They are just guessing these things, and they completely not sure about these things. Okay. So, one type of cones used for grinding, and another for one this type of saddle corn used for the making spices, pounding herbs and spices for curry or other other foodstuffs. In fact, stones of the later type are dubbed, and curry stones by our workmen, and our cook asked for the loan of one from the museum in the kitchen. Okay. So, it is a picture given that a saddle corn discovered in 1937 from Mohenjo-daro. Now, the next one, it is the urban planning. What is the urban planning? That Harappan civilization, okay, the Harappan civilization actually, okay, if I rub this, so in these cities there are two type of cities discovered, okay, the upper town and the lower town, and also roads, and in this way the roads prepared and houses were there, and this upper town used by the rich people. They guess that this is the house of the rich people, mostly the ruling class, and they lived in these upper houses. These are small but elevated, and these are called citadel. So, this is called the citadel, and this is called the lower town. Okay. And the first site to be discovered like this type of features is in Harappa, and in Harappa these two sections also discovered, and the lower town is much larger, but it is lower than the citadel, and they believed that the common people and the working class, they also lived in the lower town in those Harappan cities. The citadel also constructed on mud brick platform, and it was walled, which means that it was physically separated from the lower town, and it was surrounded with wall, and it was based on a platform made up with mud and mud brick. Okay. And these were walled, surrounded with walls and fortified. It looks like a today's fort or fortresses, and also entrances and slopes also there, and the stairs also there to enter this upper town, but they thought that the access was very much restricted. And the lower town was also walled, and several buildings were built on platforms which served as foundations. In the lower town also some buildings were built on the building was built on the platforms. It has been calculated that if one lever moved roughly a cubic meter of earth daily, so just to put the foundations in place, it would have required 4 million persons a day. In other words, mobilizing labor on a very large scale. So, to place the cubic blocks to make this, okay, so they need huge amount of labors, such as, you know, that when Egyptians cities, the Egyptians pyramids, they also made up with stone blocks, and these stone blocks were carried away from a very far region, and the archaeologists, they also thought that this same type of thing happened here, that a very large scale of labor were mobilized by the ruling class to build these high platforms and cities. So, consider something else. Once the platform were in place, all building activity within the city was restricted to a fixed area on the platform. So, it seems that the settlement was first planned and then implemented accordingly. Other signs of planning including bricks, which whether sun dried or baked were a standard ratio, okay, and where the length and breadth were 4 times and twice the height respectively. Such bricks were used to all Harappan settlements. So, it is a very surprising thing that to establish this type of cities, first they made this platform, after that they built the upper town and the lower towns also. So, it also represent the wonderful planning of the people living here, and the bricks also sun dried, and the ratio, the size also same in every Harappan cities, and most of the Harappan cities discovered at that time in the lower level. So, this is the planning and the city. Now, the laying out drains. Now, another important thing, it is the drainage system. It is also a very important thing, that how did they made those drains. The drains were dug in a rectangular 90-degree angle. All the drains, they were dug in a 90-degree angle, and what happened if those are the houses situated and some private drains also there. So, these drains merge with the drains situated beside the streets, and also high drain also situated both the side of the main street, and this water also coming through these street drains and merge with the large drains, and there are steep slope also there. In this way, the steep slope from upper portion to lower portion. So, this type of planning was found in this area, and the streets were laid out along with the approximate grid pattern, and interesting that right angles, and it seemed that the streets with drains were laid out first and then houses built along them, and it was proved and it is forced to think us that at first the drains along with the roads were established. After that the houses were built. So, the planning was there, this image also reflect the planning done by the people of Harappan civilization. And every house needed to have at least one wall along with the street. Okay, one wall along with the street it is present, and what happened that the doors and windows, these are not in the side of the main street. Okay, the main doors are present in the other side of the and inside the streets, it is not in the facing the main road. And the windows also, and each of these cities had in middle there is a courtyard, and all the rooms made beside this courtyard. Okay, and windows also made inside facing towards the courtyard. And the courtyard was probably the center of activities such as cooking and weaving. They believe the courtyard also a center of cooking and weaving. So, cooking, weaving are the two main activity that was happened in this courtyard. What is also interesting is an apparent concern for privacy. There is no windows in the walls along the ground level. Beside, the main entrance does not give a direct view of the interior of a courtyard. And as well as this main entrance, you cannot see directly the courtyard. Okay, so it is built superbly in a well planned manner that you cannot see what is inside the courtyard, what was happened inside the courtyard. We built it with a very much well mannered planned way. And the 2 stories houses, most of the time that the windows are in the upper stories, in lower stories no windows there. So, in this way they built this to prevent the dust and also the dirt from the main roads, to avoid the dirt inside their house from the roads, to prevent these things. Every house, another thing, that had its bathroom paved with bricks with drains connected to the wall and the street drains. I have already told you. And they also separate bathing place in every houses. These are not attached inside their rooms. They are situated beside the main house, and the drains also joined with the street drains, and street drains also joined with the main drains. And some houses have remains of staircases to reach the second story of the roof. Many houses had wells, often in a room that could be reached from the outside and perhaps used by passers-by. Scholars have estimated that the total numbers of wells in Mohenjo-daro was about 700. So, they found 700 wells in Mohenjo-daro, and the wells were found in the outside and bathing area also. Okay. So, in this way each of these houses made very well manner. Okay. Okay. So, so that's all from today's. Up to this, I have discussed domestic architecture, the sub-unit number 3.2. So, if you have any question, you can ask me from this sub-unit. Okay, Jivanangshu, any question, students? If you have any question regarding these 3 subunits, you can ask me. pharaohs. Okay, Jivanangshu, meaning of pharaohs. Which part to discuss this one? Okay, we use this term when the mortar and pestles in the okay, agricultures. Okay. So agriculture, okay, pharaohs means the two types of lining. I am drawn already that. Okay, the line drawn by the this type of horizontal lines created through the ploughing, the marks created through the ploughing, as well as the this type of signs also discovered in those archaeological sites, and mostly in Kalibangan. Okay, so they thought that this type of signs also the indication of the cultivation two times. In today's agricultural field also you can find this type of marks, and with these marks you can identify that they are two times they cultivated that land. Okay. Okay, anyone else? Any question? Anyone else? Any other question? Okay, so thank you. I hope you have understood. Read this subunit carefully in your home and prepare notes, and in this way you will understand these things. So thank you for watching. So if I have opportunity next class, then I will also discuss the rest of the part. Otherwise, ma'am also continue the chapter from the third book. So thank you for watching. See you again.